The button is pushed. Right. Welcome to the Lucky 13 podcast, where we talk about all things people and profit and business. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Lantz.
I'm Josh Hauser.
And we have a guest, Jason Beutler, the CEO and founder of Robosource. We're going to talk AI today. So thanks for being with us today.
Hopefully me and you can educate him a little bit. It seems like he's new to it, and you and I are obviously experts. I think between the two of us, if you spotted us a letter, we'd have a hard time spelling it. So we'll figure it out.
So welcome, Jason.
Well, thanks. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to learning some things
today.
So.
That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do on the AI front. But it is Wednesday.
We're at the world headquarters of Robosource here in Launch Fishers.
Absolutely. And which side by side with the most sought after podcast, Lucky 13, that there is to have.
That's right.
So, and it is Wear It Wednesday. So I'm going to do the lead in. Got a daughter who goes there. I got two daughters who goes there. I got a daughter getting her PhD
at Liberty
University. Liberty. Not that Liberty. Different. Yeah. And then I have a daughter who runs track. She runs hurdles and long jumps there.
How's she doing?
We had surgery last year. She's feeling good, running more upright. Didn't realize that as bad parents that she probably should have had the surgery a few years ago. Rub some dirt on it. So
you've had a couple kids like that.
Hey, you never know. CPS could be listening. So let's just stop.
How many broken bones did Micah play the state championship with?
He had two surgeries in 2 weeks after he had an ankle and a knee that had to be two surgeries in 2 weeks after the state championship. Yeah, that's his mom. I told him to sit out, obviously, and his mom's like, "You gotta keep going." Yeah, and I was like, "Man, that's tough."
Yeah, tough.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to this episode.
And then, we are recording this on October 15th, so I have to throw this out.
Oh, here we go.
This isn't coming out till Monday.
Here we go.
How about our third-ranked Hoosiers?
There we go.
I mean, come on now.
This is every trip, every time.
Well,
it's awesome.
And I've always said
it's awesome because just 3 short years ago, they were actually had a shot at winning the state championship, and now they're on the national level, which is amazing. So that's awesome. They just got a bad sectional draw. If they wouldn't have got Center Grove, they would have made it out.
That's very true, very true. So, when you grow up a Hoosier fan and watch as many bad football games as I have, you got to brag about it.
I'm on Team Hoosier. It's so much fun. I love Signetti. I love just his approach. And there's no celebration. It's next week. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Well, we got a couple of trap games coming up with Michigan State and UCLA, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Let's dive in. So, just again, Jason, thanks for joining us. Jason is the founder and CEO of Robosource, and so why don't you just give us a little bit of who you are, where you came from, and speaking of good Christian schools, you went to Taylor University.
I did. They're putting some money into Upland right now. I love it.
Yeah, they're putting a lot in there.
Yeah.
Upland.
Yes.
What? It's not Upland. It's Upland.
Did you say Louisville or Louisville?
Well, it is Upland.
Okay, say Louisville.
Louisville.
No, so they could be Upland.
Taylor's doing a lot. Their president is really pouring a lot into the school, and they're growing like crazy. It's been fun to watch. But I went there in the 90s, got a computer science degree. So I went there because my dream in life was actually to be a cartoon animator. And so I wanted to, like the old school Disney cartoons, like the 1930s and 40s, like my favorite character was Goofy. So growing up, that's all I did was draw Goofy all day long.
And now you get to do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
this one won't get
turns out that I'm actually really bad at drawing and art. And so after a while, I realized there was probably no hope in being an animator. And I got involved in computers. And then Pixar started to become a thing. And I was like, ooh, I can do computers and art, and that'd be really awesome. So I started looking for schools that offered computer graphics, and Taylor was one.
There you go.
And back in the 90s, that was really rare. So went to Taylor to get a degree in computer science with a focus in three-dimensional graphics.
Yep.
And then they made you take another track as well. And so I had a choice between like business systems and databases or this thing called artificial intelligence. And so I was like, well, we're doing AI. That sounds way more interesting than databases. So
back before AI was a thing,
yeah, back before it was really
Terminator
a thing.
was our closest thing.
Right. So that's what I studied was 3D math and AI in college at Taylor. Loved it. Met my wife there. We got married. And so we've been married 26 years now. I got 2 kids.
There you go.
Got a 22-year-old daughter that now lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And I got he turns 20 next week, son, who's currently at school up in Fort Wayne.
Oh, I love it.
So
St. Francis?
He's at St. Francis, yes. He is in their music tech program, becoming a producer. So that's fun.
Yeah, what was the story? Like they built some huge music tech thing?
Yeah,
right? Who did that?
I think it was Sweetwater came in and said, hey, we're build out a studio for you. I don't know what they spent on it, but it's crazy high-tech stuff. Like They said, hey, we'll come in and build this out if you create a pipeline of talent that we can work with. And so
that explains why they've been calling me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this all makes sense.
So
yeah.
So so they've got, it's a great little program there, and it's all the top of line equipment. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so then.
So you're an empty nester, really, too.
We are.
Technically. Isn't it awesome?
I don't want
it is.
Awesome. This cat.
Kind of feels like we're ganging up on me a little bit. Let's just continue about Robosource. We need to talk about the 4 I still have at home.
That's
and it ain't changing for very long.
We're officially no more 7-year-olds. We have an 8-year-old now. So.
Okay, that's awesome.
So when did you start Robosource?
So actually, I started a company coming out of college, and I did it completely wrong.
Awesome. That's the best way to learn.
Learned everything how not to run a business.
That's called wisdom.
About 3 years later, was like, this is not working, and so I took a job in corporate America, and then was depressed for the next 6 years because I was doing corporate work. And was employee 78,000 of something of this massive organization. I was like, this is horrible. So I was like, I'm going to go get a master's in business degree so that I don't screw up the next business I start.
Love it.
And so I went to University of Notre Dame and got my MBA. Graduated in May of 2009, and in January of 2010, I quit my job and started the company. We officially incorporated in 2012. We've been running it ever since.
Love it.
So it was a long journey. I had to go through a lot of ups and downs to get back to the point of starting the business and getting the business off the ground again. But, we're passionate about helping people do meaningful, impactful work. That's really why we started it, is I think people wake up in the morning and they want their jobs to matter. And, shuffling numbers between spreadsheets just, it isn't all that exciting. And it keeps them from doing the strategic, and relational type of work that really drives. So that's really why we started it. And we've been doing some variation of that since 2012.
So the mission's never changed.
Yeah, mission's never changed. Just how we talk about it.
Yeah.
So it looked like custom software there for a while in terms of how we help. But now as AI became more and more of a thing, and after almost 15 years of working with clients, you start to see patterns. And you're like, there's some things that we could set up that would really kind of accelerate how our clients could take advantage of this new technology that's really not that new, but people are just now really learning about it, and it's actually just now getting good enough to make it make an impact in business. So we said, how can we accelerate and get to that point where people can do that and start to leverage this technology effectively? So we rebranded about 4 years ago. Took some investment recently, and then got a new product out the door a month ago.
Oh, love
it. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah. So what was kind of the moment where you said, okay, we're doing all this custom software development, we're building automations for people, where you just kind of said, we're seeing all these common paths of all these companies. Let's stop doing that as much and develop more of a software that all can use.
Yeah,
what was that moment?
There were two things that happened at the same time. One was I started to find that I was writing the same quote over and over again, and really what it boiled down to was business does not understand how their processes function. They don't really understand what they do. Cliff around the corner does the job all day long, but no one really knows what Cliff is doing. And so we started to have this conversation that people are like, well, yeah, the work gets done, but we don't really know why or how, and it's not formalized and not documented. So what we ended up doing a lot of times was come in and just figure out what Cliff was doing before we could even automate it. And so I started writing a lot of the same thing over and over again, and I was like, oh, that's really fascinating. So that was one aspect. And then the other aspect that happened at the same time, and again, lessons in life and business, got a little over-leveraged with one client. Sometimes that's hard not to do. When a client's showing up and they're like, we love what you're doing, bring another client on, here's more. Next thing you know, about 80% of our business was on them. And we knew the risk, but we were like, I'm not going to say no. And then they happened to merge with another organization on Christmas of 2019 or 2018. All contractors were out, and that was about 30 of my people. So you realize that moment, and you're like, hey, we're seeing a pattern happen. Also, the project and the way that we were bringing in revenue shifted at that point, and it was a hard lesson learned, but we weathered it. And use that as kind of our pivot point to say, hey, we really need to move into more of a product-based focus. And so it was a 5-year process to get there. to get to the point where we could get this product out the door.
Yeah. Well, heck, we've shared a common wall over here at Lodge Fishers for like a year and a half, and I didn't know that you guys were working on that at the time. So that's really cool. So talk to us about your product.
So really the vision is we want to provide all the tools necessary for a small and mid-sized company to be able to leverage AI on a day-to-day basis. I think most people are aware of AI now. They've at least played with it. And they played with the Chat GPTs or the Claudes. But it's kind of a tool that is on the side that when you think about it, you go to and ask it some questions. And most people kind of treat it like a search engine.
It's the new Google.
Yeah, it's Google. And we said, hey, this actually is way more than that. And how do we get it into your day-to-day? Which came back to your business processes. How can we capture your business process and actually understand what your processes are? Allow the AI to help advise you and be a true thought partner for you in your day-to-day activities, where you're not having to go to some other tool to ask it questions. It's just right there answering the questions for you. So how do we do that? And that's really what we set out to create. And so Process Coach is I kind of hate calling it this just because the terms all get overused, but it's kind of like your virtual AI assistant. Because you interact with it through like email, text messages, Slack, Teams. It's not like you have to go to another tool. Well, we provide a website to let you interact with it as well, but most of the time you're going to interact with it in the way that you just do your day-to-day work. Because that's really where work is done. That's where your real value is brought. So the idea is, hey, let's take an AI, let's train it on how the business want these processes to be done, and then allow your team to interact with it the way they just do day-to-day work, and it helps get that work done for you more efficiently and more effectively.
So give us a use case. Like, give us an example.
So one that I'm kind of excited about right now is it's actually a private jet company that is using it to help source jets. And so people come in and they say, hey, I need a flight from New York to Palm Beach, and I'm looking for a private flight to make that happen, and they help source that whole process. And so we're using it to do all the nuance around what that looks like. And so there's a lot of human-based conversations and decisions that need to be validated, so the AI can make a lot of the decisions, but validated from a human standpoint. And then there's a lot of automation that can be done behind the scenes as well to just kind of do things automatically. That's one case that I was pretty excited about. Another one we did recently is on the sales side. It's a large engineering firm that moves massive equipment. We're talking like the oversized loads that you see on the highways, and so they're moving, 200,000-pound water heaters and things like that, and they're moving them from like the bottom of the ocean or the side of a mountain or something along those lines, where a sales process is massively long because it's an engineering process problem. And they have a whole history of 40-plus years of experience and documentation around what they've done. But whenever they get a new project, they end up spending a month or more going through all of the history to find out if they've ever done a project similar to this. And so we were able to build out a tool through the Process Coach platform that was able to say, hey, have we ever moved a 200,000-pound water heater before? And it would pop up all the projects as well as summarize all of the lessons learned that came out of their sales process so they could be more efficient in the way they got their quotes out the door.
That's the story that Jason told me that I was like, okay, we've hired them. And to think that, you might have a salesperson that could go out and answer like 14 discovery questions. And based on the results of those questions, it can go into a container where all your proposals live and all of your data from all your discovery meetings before, and basically go, oh, here are 4 proposals that meet the exact need that the one you're talking to now has. And then it can generate the proposal, and then it can generate this and that. And that, like, it's just... And it doesn't take the human away, because we're going to go look at it and make sure that it's on point, but it allows us to access our 9 years of hundreds of, not 1,000 proposals that we've written to inform the next step in a process.
It feels like, as I talk to companies about processes and what have you, and it's still in the Rolodex model, or it's in the card catalog from a library. And so great that they have it, but how can we get to it quickly? And the way, what I'm hearing you say is knowledge is not transferred. It's easily retrievable. And so if we have those processes and we use a tool like what you're describing here, I can get that easily retrievable in such a more timely fashion, and be able to interact with it, because bodies and bots have to work together. It's not one or the other.
Absolutely. And that's actually a tenet we hold really strong to is AI. There's a lot of marketing hype around AI replacing jobs and replacing people. I don't think it's ready.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a thought partner to your current team to allow your team to think more strategically and let some of the tactics be handled for them.
And you think okay, so if I just think about that sales thing you were talking about, the last thing a person wants to do as an engineer, like an engineer salesperson, is go dig in and find out that. That's the horrible work.
Yes.
So if we can get AI to do some of the mind-bending, horrible work, it allows them and frees them up to do more meaningful work.
Exactly.
Right? And Amber on our team, she hates building proposals.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
But it's part of the job.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you can leverage AI tools, automation tools, things like that to help you with that process, then the other thing that's fascinating about your software, your product, is no matter what other technology you use, it plugs right in.
Yes.
So talk more about that.
Yeah. Well, one of the neat things. So I am a geek. I'm an engineer. I tend to talk
I've heard you admit that several times.
A little geeky sometimes. So there's this technology that it's called MCP, and what it does is it lets the artificial intelligence communicate through the back channels to existing software platforms you already have. So one of my favorite examples is like HubSpot. Mm-hmm. We can set up your AI to actually communicate with HubSpot. So literally you can say, hey, have I ever talked to Josh? And it'll go, let me go see. And it will actually do that work for you and come back and summarize it for you. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. But what about on this date? And you can actually just have a conversation, and it's like searching your tools on your behalf. Now, what we said is, hey, if we can define your standard operating procedures in plain English, like the way that you would talk about it if you were to tell an intern how to make this happen, then we should be able to give it tools, and it will figure out how to do that standard operating procedure for you. So I don't care if your CRM is HubSpot or Salesforce or Nutshell or Pipedrive. You can say, here's the way we're going to handle this, and then when I give you the tool that's what you're going to call your CRM, it just figures out how to do that on your behalf. So you now have flexibility in the way that you work with the tools and the way that you're able to kind of update and switch between them. So.
Yeah, and so you're literally, the way I understand it is, and I think it's just email right now, but you're working on Teams and Slack and all these other things. You literally could have this thing sitting in Slack and just ask it a question. Mm-hmm. Have I ever spoken to Josh? Yeah. And it will just go grab the answer.
Your prep before a meeting is now eliminated. You've cut that down, and now what is it? Just staying one chapter ahead. You can be one chapter ahead 10 minutes before the meeting if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I love that concept. So what I'm hearing, and then I'm going to ask a couple questions if you don't mind. Sure. This is the battle between effective and efficient, because we want to be extremely effective, but in the world that we live in, the more efficiencies. And usually when you're efficient, things fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. When you're effective, you're going too slow, and so you're tightening that window up.
Yes.
What's the point of barrier that you're finding with these small to medium-sized business owners that's keeping them from, let's just say, taking that leap, taking that step, and then how are you overcoming that? Give me some ideas there.
Yeah, so there is a tremendous amount of fear with what AI is.
Where do you see most of that fear lie?
So I think that right now we have a dilemma with AI. And the dilemma is everything we've heard is AI is coming, and AI is going to be a disruptive technology. And we know historically, you look back and you see things like the internet came around, and you see 85% of those companies were run out of business because they didn't adapt to the internet effectively. So we have this fear of I have to take action, because if I don't take action, I'm going to get left behind. But then we also have these studies that came out that say 95% of AI projects are failing. That came out by MIT about a month ago.
Okay.
So you've got this experimental technology, and it just feels like you're burning cash. So as a leader, you're stuck between I have to do something or I'm going to get left behind, and I'm going to burn cash if I do anything at all. And so there's this tension that sits there of like, I don't know what to do. So I'm now paralyzed, and I'm afraid of how to move forward.
And Maslow tells us to freeze.
Yep. And so everyone freezes.
Yeah.
I think there's also this fear of like, do I want to be this early adapter or adopter that goes and spends a bunch of money? And then you even told me once we were talking, like, I find this fascinating. Jason researches AI a day and a half a week. Like he just hides in a hole and researches it. And he was sharing once that he learned something on Friday, and by Monday he read an article that's no longer the right way to do it, and the article was posted over the weekend.
Holy smokes.
So you can imagine some people will go spend all this money, and then, a month later, it's obsolete.
Yeah, the conversation I think we had this when we were together, is this dog years that every day is 7 days, every month is 7 months, 1 year is 7 years.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, you read it, and within 24 hours, it was obsolete, or 48 hours. So I can see that being a fear. Mm-hmm. So how are you helping folks overcome that fear? How do you move in that freeze to actual action, right? Because decisions need to be made at some point, and everybody recognizes that decision needs to be made. And I'm not asking for your sales cycle. How are you seeing entrepreneurs say, okay, this is the right time to start toeing in the water?
Yeah, so what I do is I take it out of the technology, because technology is a tool and AI is just a tool, and I bring it down to the people. It's like, what are your people doing, and where is their pain point right now? What are they really struggling with? And so what I really like to do is say, where are you taking your business? Like, let's look out 2 to 3 years. And let's talk about that. And then let's come back and say, what is standing in the way of you making that happen? Those are the problems we need to solve. And AI is either the right tool to solve that or the wrong tool to solve that. And I'll tell you straight up.
Yeah.
And so if it's the right tool, I'll tell you. And there's a ride that's going to go with that.
Oh, of course.
But there's a ride that goes with every tool. If you go to implement Salesforce right now, how old is that technology?
Yeah.
And there's a ride.
There's a ride. I call Salesforce Hotel California.
Yeah.
You can check in whenever you want, but you can never leave.
Yeah. And there's weed everywhere.
Yeah.
Or weeds. Did I say weed?
Yeah.
Weeds.
All right, my bad.
Yeah. So that's what I like to do, is I like to, because it's just a tool. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I need a strategy for AI. Okay, but we don't really come up with a strategy for a hammer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we use the hammer for what the hammer's good at.
Know what the tool is. Yeah.
So what's AI good at? Where is it really effective right now? And let's use that to solve the right problem.
I love that. I'm thinking about all the entrepreneurs listening. They're like, okay, where do I start? And you just clearly made that. Where's your pain points?
Yeah.
And is that gonna help you or hinder you from getting where you want to go 2 to 3 years from now? And then let's sit down and see if there's a tool at Ace Hardware that would help you get there faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you go in and buy hammers and you needed a saw the whole time, it's going to take you a while to get that tree down.
Exactly.
And I would just, I want this to make sure it comes out the right way. Your solution is incredibly affordable for small to medium-sized businesses. Yeah. And so anybody who's listening to this and they're driving the car down the road and they're seeing dollar signs pop in front of them, this is affordable for small to medium-sized businesses.
It's an investment, not an expense.
I 100% encourage everybody to look into this for sure. Can you share the story about, you mentioned you brought on some investment recently. Yeah. You had a big event about 2 weeks ago over here at the Fisher Center. Tell us that whole story. It's fascinating.
Yeah, so we recently got some investment from a gentleman by the name of Tim Tebow and his organization.
Heard of him.
Yeah, so Tim's a rather famous individual, and Tim is every bit as what you see. He is one of my favorite people I've got to meet because he's just so genuine. Yeah. So what ended up happening is Tim has 2 organizations. He has the Tebow Foundation, which you might have heard a lot about, and that's they're helping the most vulnerable people. And one area that is often talked about a lot is in the fight against human trafficking. And he's very passionate around that and helping those most vulnerable people. He calls them MVPs, and he's very passionate around that. And then he also has a for-profit group called the Tebow Group. So I'm a member of a C12 group, and so there's a bunch of us together. And one of the things they make you or force you to do every year is do a deep dive on your business. And then the rest of the members of the group kind of rip you to shreds. Yeah. It's awesome. You really learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about your business really quickly.
Same things happen at my doctor's office once a year.
Yep.
Different story.
So exactly. So anyways, I guess it was almost 2 years ago now. It was my turn to stand in front of everyone and bare my soul and show what's going on in our business and my leadership skills. And as I'm talking about our business and what we're doing and where we're going, a relatively new member who had joined by the name of Tommy Martin walked over to the chair and handed him a note and then walked away. And the chair was like, Todd is my chair's name, and he goes,
Todd DeCruder.
And he looks at Tommy and goes, I don't know. And then he just read it out loud. He goes, so Tommy wants to know if it's okay for C12 members to buy other C12 members' businesses. And it was sort of one of those like, oh. And then Tommy said, do you want me to excuse myself in case there's a conflict of interest here?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, like this, like you're serious.
Yeah.
So
third-party out-of-state check. You were ready.
Yeah. So I was like, no, actually, I want you here because I want you to know all the warts I have. I was like, so he stayed in. We had a conversation. My wife and I went up and met with him.
And Tommy runs.
Tommy is the CEO of the Tebow Group.
The Tebow Group.
And so
lives here in Indiana, right?
Yeah, he is. He lives in Fort Wayne. He calls it Fort Fun. Wants to make sure everyone is adopting that mantra about Fort Wayne. But Tommy is he's just a great friend. He's a great mentor. So we made sure it was right for both of us and took our time. And then they helped us with some investment to get the product out the door. And it was really fun. In early September, we had the launch of our product, and Tim actually was in town for another reason, but was able to stop by and be a part of our event.
Love it.
Which was just so neat. And he spent about an hour with our team beforehand, which was so fun. I joke, we're all computer technicians and engineers. I don't think any one of my engineers has watched a game of football in their life.
Understood.
And so I don't think they actually know who Tim is.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big deal to that.
They were like, okay, this is our investor. And I'm like, no, you don't really understand. But it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was really neat. And like I said, Tommy came on board and is now on our board. We also have another gentleman by the name of Brian Johnson that joined in on that. And Brian is also just a great mentor and leader. Brian was a part of cybersecurity with PayPal. Then has spun out and is doing
small
individual
company.
Yeah. So and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to tech. So we got the tech prowess behind us. We've got the marketing and branding prowess with the Tebow Group, and it's just been a great partnership. And they're just, like I said, they're just genuinely good people.
Yeah. Love it.
Which is that's who I like to do business with. They're just good people. So.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody is interested in learning more about Process Coach, what's the best way to make that happen?
Yeah. So Robosource.us is our website. We also have the website processcoach.ai, both of which will get you to us. There's a contact us form on there. Or you can just email me directly, jason.beutler@robosource.us. My last name is spelled funny.
Yep, spelled form.
So it is Beutler.
Yeah.
My grandfather didn't know where the E came from, that's how you can get a hold of us, and would love to chat about how this, because this is you can make this practical and you can make this approachable. Yeah. And as long as it's the right tool for the right job.
That's right.
So eliminate the fear, have the, we call it 20 seconds of courage, 5 minutes of awkward, and you'll find out if that's the case.
Yep, exactly.
Good. Well, thank you again for spending some time with us and helping people sort through this whole AI thing. And I got a lot of takeaways.
Yeah. Replace the fear with curiosity. That's the first thing that I wrote down.
No AI strategy. It's a tool. What's your business strategy, and how can AI help you accomplish that?
Exactly.
So, there it is.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, Jason.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Bye.